everyone, welcome to episode 94 of the XS Noize Podcast. I'm Mark Millar. Thanks for listening. In this episode, I talk to Evan Westfall from Ohio-based folk rock outfit Caamp to talk about their latest album, Lavender Days. If you missed the previous episode, I spoke to Fran Healy from Travis about the 21st anniversary of their classic album, The Invisible Band.
Well, there's quite a memorable gig we had there where someone threw knickers on the stage.
In Belfast?
Yeah, we've never had knickers thrown on the stage, only in Belfast. They were very small knickers as well, so it was well dodgy. And I took the knickers, and they landed on my monitor, and I picked them up by my fingertips, and I wheezed them across the stage, and they landed on them. They landed on the guitar tech, and then he threw them onto the monitor guy. It was very funny.
So check it out, and if you like the podcast, please subscribe and share it with your friends. If you want up-to-date music news, album reviews and interviews, then check out our main website at xsnoize.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. Search for the tag at XS Noize Music. Here's XS Noize writer Daniel Lynch with a taste of what's been on the website this week.
In the reviews section this week, Laurie Gava's been listening to Garage Band Superstar by Lauren Hibbard. Laurie says Hibbard's debut album delivers energy, at times reminiscent of Bouncy No Doubt, but also combining influences like Weezer, Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins, with lyrics that reveal more with every listen. 8 out of 10 with the album's title track, The Standout. Aaron Kavanagh's been chatting to Plymouth-based band The Native about their new EP, Looking Back. They discuss recording the EP with some big names and look forward to playing Reading and Leeds festivals. Finishing with reissue news, and Reef will release a vinyl pressing of their #1 album Glow. That's due in November. And ahead of the reissue of their third album, and my personal favourite, Be Here Now, Oasis have released a lyric video for one of the album's biggest tracks. You can see that and get all the release details at xsnoize.com.
Ohio-based folk rock outfit Caamp recently released their fantastic new album, Lavender Days. In this interview, Evan Westfall talks about writing and recording the album during lockdown, musical influences, and their upcoming UK and Ireland tour. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the XS Noize Podcast with Evan Westfall from Caamp. Hi, Evan. Welcome to the XS Noize Podcast.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
First of all, going back to the start, can you remember the first band or artist that made you pay attention to music?
Yeah, I'd say it was the Beatles first. When I was in middle school, had a general music class, and our teacher, we'd walk in every day, and she was playing the Beatles always, in the class when we'd walk in or when we'd leave. And I remember asking her, I don't think I asked her, who is this? I knew who it was, I think, but I was like, where should I start? And she sent me to pick up the Beatles 1 album. I went to Best Buy. That was one of the first albums I bought, CDs I bought with my own money, was the Beatles 1 album. And then shortly after that, it was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. My parents, that was the first show my parents took me to when I was little. And I'd say, so Beatles and Tom Petty.
Yeah, well, two great places to start. I mean, the Beatles 1 album, I think it's every #1 that they've ever had. And then Tom Petty, I watched my favorite music documentary of all time is the one about Tom Petty.
Oh yeah. It's a great one.
It's amazing. It's about 3 hours long or something like that.
Yeah. I got it on, a big old brick of a DVD package.
Yeah.
One.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So going back, how did the band get together? For anyone that doesn't know, how did you guys meet?
Well, Taylor, the singer, and myself, we became friends in high school, and we had a high school band, different music, and, it was different direction completely than what we do now. But, it was just more for fun. We would play art hops, and we were young at the time, so we couldn't really play late night bar scene stuff, but we would play we found our way. We snuck into bars and got to play here and there. Like people would let us in and play because our parents and parents' friends could drink. So they could make at least a little bit of money if they let a couple 17-year-olds play. So we get to play like happy hour shows and stuff. And yeah, that was like 10, 11 years ago. We had this high school band. And then when it was time for college or university, like Taylor moved like an hour southeast of Columbus, where we're from, to go to school. And I stayed in Columbus, but we kept sending ideas back and forth, stayed in touch. I would go down and visit him in his dorm, and we'd go out and party and whatever and find some time to play, pick guitars and stuff. And then Tay started playing some open mics down there at Athens, Ohio, where he was going to school. And then I moved down a couple years later, and that year we wrote like the first Caamp album and started playing as a duo, banjo, guitar, at open mics. We hit like the same open mic every Wednesday until we had like somewhat of a fan base down there, and people would come out to see us play our 3 songs or whatever every Wednesday. And then we just hit like the house show scene down there and got to know a bunch of buddies, other bands. And that's where we met the rest of the guys, like Matt, who plays bass, and he recorded our second album for us, and Joe, who plays the keys, and Henry, who's now playing drums. Like we all met there.
Can you remember the first song you ever wrote together and you thought, right, this is a really good song, we're definitely on to something here?
The first song we ever wrote together that would have been in our high school band. But you think first Caamp song though?
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
Well, Taylor, the front man, originally had the songs Ohio and Vagabond like a long time ago. And that was when we were still with the high school band. I knew those were both great songs, but the first song that we wrote together that I think, when I thought like, we could be doing this, was 26. We wrote 26 a long time ago. And like how we used to work was like in my parents' basement. Like we would go down in my parents' basement and like steal their beers out of their basement fridge and just kind of sit down there and just pluck away. And like, yeah, with 26, that was, I remember there's a restaurant in Ohio called Skyline Chili, and it's like a hot, like coney, like hot dog coney and spaghetti, and they make their own chili and stuff. And I remember I had like written the music for 26, and I remember I showed Taylor a voice. We were in the parking lot getting ready to go and eat Skyline and then go back home and work, and I showed Tay like the music, and I was like right before we got out of the car, and I was like, do you think this is a little bit too poppy or like what we're trying to go for? And he was like, no, I love it. Let's hurry up and eat and get back and work on it. And then I remember just sitting in my parents' basement just strumming the progression over and over again while Tay was scribbling lyrics down on the notepad. And yeah, and I felt like we had something there. And then it just kind of all started from there, really. Like we started just writing a ton of songs, and yeah, and that one didn't get on the first album even. I don't know why. I forget why we didn't include that one on the first album, but we had just a notebooks full of songs that we just from those sessions, those like basement sessions there. So but yeah, to answer your question, I'd say 26 was the one where felt like that was, people are going to like that one,
And you mentioned Vagabond. I looked on Spotify, and it's your most streamed track, which is quite amazing because it's a great track, but it's 2 minutes 9 seconds long. Why do you think people like that track so much?
I think that's one of the reasons, honestly. Like I love songs that are that short. I honestly can't, like, nowadays there's just so much music out there, and like I can't even listen to songs that are over 4 minutes long. I like skip through it. If I open up a song and it's like 5 minutes and 17 seconds, I'm like, I don't even have time to listen to this whole thing. So I like kind of get to the chorus and like wait till the first chorus is over. If it's that long, I'm like, all right, now moving on. I don't even listen to, unless it's like Purple Rain or something, or Stairway to Heaven, I'll listen to the whole thing. But but I don't know. I think it's like easily digestible. Like I think people, especially in today's age, playlisting and whatnot, like it gets to the point, people don't have that kind of time, vinyl records are coming back. And I think, I would listen to a song that's 5 minutes long if I'm just like doing the chores around the house, putting on a vinyl record. But I think if they're on their phones, it's just so, move on kind of day and age where I think 2-minute songs hit super hard especially for Spotify, which is Vagabond's been our number one on Spotify for years, I suppose. So maybe that's the reason. And it's great message, gets to the point, like I said. Who knows?
Going from that, you've just released your new album, Lavender Days. It's a fantastic album. Did you go into the recording of this album with any preconceived ideas, the kind of songs you wanted to write about and how it should sound?
Taylor, this was all written during the pandemic, like intense lockdown and stuff. So we weren't really together a whole lot. Tay wrote the chunk of the album, and he was going through like a rough patch in his life. And, so a lot of the songs were pretty personal to Taylor. I remember though, when we got together one night, it was the first time we'd gotten together to jam in a while. And, Tay showed us, he was like the bones of the song Lavender Girl. And up until then we have a bunch, like I said earlier, like we have a bunch of songs like that we just have sitting around waiting. But like when he showed us that song that night, that felt like that was like, it kind of clicked up. It was like, this is the focus track kind of, and like we should we should finish the album around this song. And we weren't even thinking studio at all, like get into the studio and record up until that song was written. And when we heard that song, we're like, okay, we have a direction now. And we got into the studio a couple months later after that and started working on the album.
Lavender Girl is probably my favorite track on the album. The video by Stefano Bertelli, it's beautifully animated. It's just fantastic.
Oh yeah, he did a great job. I got like chills the first time I saw that. Like when we got it sent to us, the video back, it was emotional. I don't know. We've never really done videos before, and he did a great job, just kind of without like making. I don't know. Sometimes music videos are very specific, like to the song, and he did a great job of not being super, like lyrically specific, like within the video. I don't know. He did a great job. He knocked it out of the park, I thought. Yeah. But I'm glad you like it.
Are you happy how much the band has evolved musically from the last two albums on this record?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Everyone's like stepping up their game, and we're all getting better, every single day. I know it's cliche, but we all love what we do so much. And when we get home from tours, it's like we go right back to just playing instruments. Like that's all we love to do. And so we're all constantly, even if we're not together, because we need our breaks. Like we all love each other, but like we all need our breaks after tours and stuff. But we're all going right down to our basements, and we're picking around, and we're working on our instruments and stuff. So, but yeah, I like Joe, who plays keys, like he is turned into just a mean keyboard player. And like back in the day when he first joined, he was just kind of playing pads. Like we just wanted them to like fill up some space with, triads, just like chords for us. And this last album, he has some of my favorite parts on the whole album. Just the way he's like walking, using his right hand and like walking around, and super melodic. Like he's got a great ear for melody. And there's a couple songs on the album that shows off a bit in a good way, And Matt, of course, is like, he didn't start playing bass like as a bassist. He was always been a guitarist, but he started playing the upright bass. Like he just picked it up one day, and it's like, it's not an easy thing to do. And he just started playing, and he's like one of the best upright bass players I know. And I didn't even like, during COVID, he bought one and started working on it, and he showed up with it one day and just like could play every song in our catalog like on an upright bass. So he used that a lot for the album. And yeah, those guys, and Taylor, of course, is like, he's playing acoustic mostly like back in the day, but he's crushing like he can play the hell out of an electric guitar, and like he can solo really well, and like he's very good instincts musically, and he has a great ear, and he can like improvise, and he knows where he's at now, like up the neck of a guitar, and like he can drop out and improvise stuff now. And everyone's, so like this last tour that we just got home from, was like, it was so fun because we all just like would make each other crack up on stage, because one of us would take a solo that the other, like, we didn't know the other person was capable of even. And like they break it out in front of like 4,000 people, like when none of us expected it, so it's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm just really excited about like the next album, like what happens, because we're all just, like getting better every day. So
former US President Barack Obama has added Apple Tree Blues to his summer playlist. You must have been over the moon when you heard that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was, insane. I mean, we were actually doing a radio session when we found out, and the DJ, he brought it up to us on air live, and we had no idea. And we were, it was, I can't even put it into words. Just surreal that he knows even. I just can't stop picturing him, like him on his phone with our music pulled up, and him looking at our artwork and band name. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Super special.
Which song on the album do you feel most connected to?
I think there's two for me that stand out. The first one is Sure Of. I love it's the last song on the album. It's just a voice memo that Tay had done one night, and I went over a couple of days later to his house, and he played it for me just on his, I forget if it was on his phone or on the guitar, but yeah, I love that song instantly. Yeah. I don't know, super hopeful song, and a great way to wrap up the album. Tay showed me that song. He'd been working on that song for a while. He showed that song to me maybe 4 years ago. And I think it was when we were living together, and we were out on our back porch. We started playing it for me, and I like got teary eyed from it, because I just know the kids so well. And it just seemed, it was like in that moment, it was like the most personal song. And it actually just might be forever, the most personal song he's ever written directly about himself, it felt like. And I know the kid so well, and just growing up with him. So that one lyrically hit super hard for me, and just like what he's doing with his voice, like some of the notes he hits and stuff. It's just super powerful song. And he's my buddy, and I know some stuff that he's been through. And so that one just always is going to hit super hard for me.
And you mentioned there, you've been on tour, you've been playing live shows, you were on tour with the Lumineers recently. So which songs from Lavender Days have been getting the best response live?
Believe. That was like our first single. And so I think people just have had enough time with that one. And, Believe. And we do, one sound check, we started playing, the song War Pigs, Black Sabbath, out of that. And we just we're doing it for fun. We found out we could do that during a sound check one day, and we did it live that night. And Matt, who plays bass, sings the War Pigs part. And that's been really fun to do live. And then we tie it back in. We finish out Believe after that. Like we found a whole way of threading it together. And So that one's super fun for us to play, and the crowd loves it. And we usually we'll close with it, and it's yeah, so the crowd seems to like it. And then the Otter is another one that I think people have really been enjoying live. It's more of like a traditional camp sounding song. And I think like from, our first album was mostly like banjo and acoustic guitar and kick drum sort of thing. So that's the Otter. It kind of is back to the first album kind of original camp sounding song. So great sing along chorus. Yeah, I think those two are what people have been really liking off the new album so far.
And I think I read that you guys don't have a set list on stage.
We started making set list for this past month when we were out in July. We started making a set list like 15, 20 minutes before the show just to keep it spontaneous still a little bit. But yeah, up until July, we were rolling without set list, and we just had always done it that way. And I think that was just what was most comfortable for us. We like the uncertainty and like the imperfections of live performance. And it's kind of like whatever happens, happens. And, we mess up on stage, the crowd laughs, we laugh. It's like, I think that's kind of what's contagious about our live shows, that, we're human and we're having fun. People see us mess up and have fun and drink beer on stage. And I think that's a bit of like the charm of the band, is that like it's like relatable and people feel like they're right there with us. It's not like we're up on this pedestal and we're like godlike figures, like we're pretty much in the crowd with them, just chunking through songs, and so like, yeah, when we don't roll with the set list, it makes it more free, and it allows us to communicate verbally on stage and like turn around and look at each other and acknowledge that we're, like on stage and like there's people waiting. What should we do? And then we make each other, and then like one of us will laugh and like crack a joke while we're figuring out the song, and we all laugh, and then we say something into the mic. Did you hear what Matt just said? Something, whatever. So it's it just kept it fun. But yeah, this last run we started writing set lists just because we have a phenomenal crew now, and that we kind of like, we realized that if they don't know what the next song is that we're about to play, it's going to be harder for them to, we have Keegan who's running our light show now. So like, he has to wait until like the first couple chords start of the next song. Then he has to go in and be like, okay, this is a Lavender Girl. I need to find so it gives them more of a heads up to help out the show more, and like guitar changes for our guitar tech and our sound engineer, our monitor engineers, like they all, it just helps them out a little bit if they have a little bit of a heads up of what's coming up next, but we wait till the very last minute to write set lists. So it's still like feels spontaneous enough, but yeah.
And Caamp embark on a new UK and European tour in November this year. So how much are you looking forward to those shows?
Oh man, we're so excited for those. It's been a few years. It's been like 3 years now. And yeah, COVID definitely, I think we had plans going back in 2020 and just to keep hitting it over there. And yeah, we absolutely love it over there.
Caamp, you've had over 590 million streams globally and achieved multiple number ones at AAA radio. You've headlined sold out shows and performed at major festivals around the world. With all that in mind, what's been your highlights so far?
Good question. Highlights so far. I don't know. I honestly think that I think it's so funny that our band are all like, we're all great friends, best friends, but we're all idiots. Like we're just like, we're goofy. It's like, I don't know. I think it's so funny that 5 Midwestern weirdos can just like, people come to see us like fuck around on stage every night. I think that's amazing. That's just amazing to me that people come to hear what we have to say and see us chunk our way through songs and stuff. I think it like blows my mind, every day I think about it in a way, and how grateful I am that people can connect to the songs, and we don't take any show for granted, like I always take time to look out into the crowds and see what's happening in front of me. And it's mind blowing. Like what we've been able to accomplish is like, I really can't believe it. I mean, I can't pinpoint like a one or two highlights though. Like it's too hard. I'm really proud that we're able to just like stick together, and like, even if there's like squabbles or whatever within the band, like it's just like brotherly stuff, and it's like not a big deal. And, it's like the band's bigger than one individual or any of us. So when we know that, and we just, I'm just really proud of, I guess, all of us like sticking together, and like truly it's like being on like a team, I guess, just like any sport. And just how we've been able to grow, I guess, in the studio and on stage. And, those are the highlights for me, just as a band, just being able to, physically grow up and, grow as people, and, push ourselves like musically. And, those kind of like internal highlights, I guess. And yeah, playing big festivals and Red Rocks Amphitheater and of course in Colorado, and those are all just cherries, on top. But I'm just always been a band's guy. I love bands. Bands are the best. And yeah, I'm just really proud of our band, like what we've been able to do, and how we've been able to stick together and come together when we've needed to, and just make shit happen,
Just a couple more questions, Evan. I like to ask my guests the following questions. Out of all the music in your collection, which artist or band do you have the most albums by?
Oh, good question. Probably Caamp. But let me get you a real one though. I tell you exactly who it is. It's the Kingston Trio. My grandpa Mike, when he found out I was playing the banjo, he went out. He loved the Kingston. Are you familiar with the Kingston Trio?
No.
They're from the 60s, like early mid 60s, and three of them, and they all sang harmony and just old timey, like folk funny music. And my grandpa was obsessed with them. And when he found out I was playing the banjo, he would go out and get me. Like, I think I have a dozen Kingston Trio albums, and like they're all kind of the same. Like it's all the albums are like pictures of the three of them like posing with their guitars and whatever, and it's all like cheesy, like the Kingston Trio are back. They're like the here we go again, like those kind of titles. And so I think I have a dozen Kingston Trio albums, but it is great music, and I'll put one on every once in a while. And also Neil Young. I love Neil Young. I have a couple of Neil's albums.
I must check out the Kingston Trio. That's why I asked the question, because I've discovered lots of good music by asking that question. So yeah, I will definitely check them out after this. Which song or album is your guilty pleasure?
Pretty Odd by Panic at the Disco. I know, like, I don't really know much about the band, but I know they're kind of like in the top 40 world. That's the only reason why I would call that a guilty pleasure, is because I know they're like all over the major radios, stations and stuff. But this album, Pretty Odd, my buddy showed me a couple years ago, and it's I think it's their second studio album, and it was one of those stories where the label hated it, put it out anyway, and it like there's like a major hit on it. But I don't know, it was cool. It wasn't like their first album was the I forget, I don't even know the name of the song, but it was a major top 40 radio hit. You heard it everywhere you went. And the second album was more like Beatlesque pop, and they included like strings and really cool instrumental or instrumentation, and like it sounded like a Beatles album with like a really pretty voice, like dude voice over it. So it still was pretty poppy, but like instrumentally, it was like super Beatles, like Sgt. Peppery kind of Beatles. And I just thought that was really cool. But that's the one thing that just popped in my head. I'm sure that I have another guilty pleasure album, but that's just the first one I could think of for you. Panic at the Disco, pretty odd.
I must check that out.
Yeah, it's good.
So last one, what's next in the immediate future for Caamp?
We're going to be hanging out at home for another week and a half, and then we're going to be playing in Alaska for the first time ever. Oh. We're playing the state fair, and that'll be fun. And then just, we're going to be touring the rest of the summer and fall, and we're playing our hometown arena, which will be amazing. That's quite a milestone for us. And then we're going to take a nice break in the winter and hopefully record another album.
I look forward to hearing it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay. Well, hopefully you're woke up a bit more now.
I feel good. Yeah. I can keep talking. Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Have a good rest of the day, Evan. Thank you.
You too. See you, man.
Bye-bye.
Bye.